Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Juanpa is here. Hello, Juanpa. And Jose Navarro, new member. Thank you very much for being a member, supporting the channel. And Juanpa says, Pura vida, Meran. Pura vida, Juanpa, dear. Male 24, Costa Rica. Jose Navarro says, shout out to the doctor. Jose, you know better that I am not a doctor. I'm not a psychologist or psychotherapy, nor do I claim to be. My research is independent and based on understanding of movement of mind and the fragments of our psyche, and from the masters of hundreds of years ago, trying to advance my understanding of movement of mind and relationship between mind and body and our energy with the universe, with nature. And the questions about thoughts, consciousness, fear, desire, ego, mechanical process, material process, order, and how the psyche affects us and the role of us, you, thoughts, and brain. And we discuss this through my research and training in martial arts, meditation, in discoveries and information shared with masters of hundreds of years ago, plus the information that scientists and psychotherapists have put out in their presentations, which I researched and been able to deliver it, hopefully in a way that would be helpful to you guys. And Link says, good morning, Mehran, male age 20 from the UAE. Hello, Link. So I always wanted to ask if having headaches is common with dealing with OCD. Well, it's not the OCD that gives you a headache, because it doesn't. But the anxiety of it creates stress and tension, which naturally affects the muscles of the neck and the head and the whole tightness. It's just like if you're on guard in a military on the border, or some kind of a fighting situations or sensitive situations, and you're heightened alert. So naturally, the whole system would be tightened, muscle, mentally focused, eyes, sense, senses, and all that, of course, affects the tension, and tension brings the headaches. And of course, the anxiety of it, the fear of it, all of that has a lot to do with the headache. But the OCD itself, when you understand it and say, oh, shit, I got to deal with this again, and take it like what it is, nothing drastic other than the fact that it's inconvenience and it's stupid, but we all have to deal with it one way or another, then your headache will when your anxiety reduces and you understand better what this OCD, HOCD, and all these are the subset of OCD is, then your anxiety and your tension will go lower, and hence the headaches or whatever else that you might be feeling, you will also subside. Adhan Hashim says, hi, hello, Adhan. We have a protocol here, Adhan. Gender, age, and where you're tuning in from. Same thing for you, Link. Oh, Link did say it. M20 from UAE. Thank you for that. And Jose, you too, just like Juanpa did, M24 Costa Rica, male 24 Costa Rica. Just something of that sort will help me to know what's going on. Well, I was just out doing some shopping. I just got back, and I did something that I haven't done for a long time. I got myself biscotti. Haha. That's going to be pretty treat with tea. I used to have this quite a bit, but since I noticed that my age has gone up and I gotta, be mindful of the amount of sugar I take in, so I haven't had this for years. So hence, we're going to enjoy it together. You watch, I eat. And you dunk it in the tea, and too sweet. Enough. Too sweet. Holy macaroni. And that's probably normal for normal people, but I'm not normal. So that one bite, I guess, does it. I didn't have to buy the whole box for the next bunch of years. But I also bought beets, lemon, celery, kale, green apple, and I will be making it mean juice in the morning. Lots of beets, a couple of apples, a couple of sticks of celery, a couple of lemons. It's going to be amazing. Yeah, Link, it looks tasty if you like, if you were like me a few years back, like sugary stuff. I don't like sugary stuff anymore. Like, I don't feel like it, but when I feel like it, like after workout or something, I'll take it. Like maybe if I had done some biking tonight, I would have had that. And 10 grams of sugar in that stick of biscotti. Adds up. Oh, but this tea is heavenly. Green tea. So is that what we're going to be tonight? The 7 of us, which we just shrunk as soon as I said 7. There's 6 of us. And what happened to the rest of you guys? Out of 6, 2 like and the rest don't like? Click on like, guys. Adrian is here. Rocky, yes, I know. Says hello, Mehran. Adrian, aka Rocky, 41, Romania. Says he says Ivan says hello. Hello, say hello to Ivan. And says, what's on the menu today? Well, it was a bit of biscotti. I just had it. The menu is just what you guys want to talk about. Anything to do with breakups, OCD, HOCD, or other topics in life, since we're not that busy tonight, unless we get really busy. Otherwise, no worries. Just shoot. But before you do that, click on like. There's 7 of us here, 3 likes. That's shameful. Come on now. And Jose says, when you don't deluge in so much sugar, indulge, you mean, yeah, okay, in so much sugar, the Western food culture becomes too much. Yeah, I don't like sugar. I mean, I had my share of sugar. I didn't care. I had so much chocolate and God knows pastries in life that you can't even imagine. I enjoyed it. I used to go to the office in the morning years ago. And right below the high-rise, the building that my office was in there was this cafeteria, coffee shop, with sticky buns, cinnamon buns. Oh, I would have a hot one with big glass of milk. Oh, amazing. But that was when I didn't know what really sugar is not good. That was a different time in my life. Not as, I didn't know as much or as little as I know now. So, what's going on? Again, still 3 likes? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5 of us that I know. So, bring that 3 to 5 at least. The other 6, I don't know. Maybe he's not showing up or she's not showing up. But it's there. It shows that there's 6 people, but only we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So we should have 5 likes, unless you don't like. Jose says, what does it mean when you still think about your ex, not your previous girlfriend? Oh, It just means that you're not happy with the experience you had with your ex, immediate ex, and you don't have any girlfriend right now, or if you do, you're not really that keen about her, and you miss certain things that were just wonderful about your ex, or possibly ex broke up with you and it wasn't good terms, and you feel a bit hurt still that there is no reason she should have done that. I was so nice to her, and you still feel like you seek justice. No, and you feel like she's better than you, so you desire her. No, you shouldn't. Whoever is not with you doesn't deserve your attention. That's your motto. Whether, whatever you feel, that, she neglected you, or she broke up with you, or you still want her, or you feel she's better than you, just come to the actuality of it. For whatever reason, she's not with you, she doesn't deserve your attention. That's the end of it. Simple. Yeah? And perhaps you're selecting memories with her rather than the whole package, the whole story of all the negative things and positive things. Instead of looking at it as a whole, you're just cherry picking of the pleasant parts. I don't know, when something about her you liked, her looks or her figure or her fitness or intimacy or some conversation or something you guys had in common, some sports activities, whatever it was, you're selecting those and you're making it as a conclusion that she was so amazing, I miss her. Maybe you miss the activity, but not her, but you happen to have performed and been engaged in the activity that you're thinking of and you feel like having with her. So it brings her into mind and you think it's her that you're really missing. It could be many things, but it's very, limited information, I guess. And Jose said, but she cheated on me. Women aren't replacing her. Well, she cheated on you, so you feel like you need justice for her to give you the affirmation, because by cheating on her, you, having allowed a weak-mindedness get into you, you feel like her choices and selection makes you or breaks you, elevates you or demotes you, and you feel demoted because she chose somebody else. The cheating, that's how it interprets to you, instead of the actuality of the interpretation, which means she's a cheap ass and she's not faithful, and that's a bad trait. Instead, you translate it as her choice and selection has a reflection on your worth and value, which is totally bogus. It has a reflection on her. It's a reflection on her action, not on you. And that's why you feel, oh, she's better than you. You want to prove to her that you're just as good or you're better. You should be her selection. All that plays with your head and you think you miss her. You don't miss her. You want the affirmation and confirmation from someone who actually doesn't deserve to give you any affirmation, doesn't even deserve to get your affirmation, but you're seeking your affirmation from her. That is kind of, you should think it through. Link says, how long does it normally take to caudate, C-A-U-D-A-T-E, caudate nucleus to go back into action? Depends how persistent you are in your behavior toward intrusive thoughts. So you end up rewiring through neuroplasticity, rewiring your brain by your behavior, so caudate nucleus catches on to the rhythm. And Link says, have been struggling with HOCD, TOCD since July of 2020. Yeah, many people happen to have falling into this glitch of the OCD, subsets of, OCD being HOCD, whatever OCD else. And these are all just simply nonsense, meaningless. Your brain has fallen into a disorder in the glitch, and don't buy into what the brain suggests. Don't believe thoughts. Thoughts have no actuality. And remember, it's a protective measure. It's a protective reaction, which means to protect you, they attack it on opposite of what you are. That's why all thoughts are opposite of your actual natural gender. And the fact that you're annoyed by it, it simply clearly tells you that this is opposite of what you are. Otherwise, you would be welcoming it. Oh, yeah, okay, now I found myself. What do you mean found yourself? You weren't lost. Nobody finds or loses itself. Everybody knows what they are from childhood. But the thought and all the irrelevant information that is out there and being introduced to all kinds of people of all ages inappropriately creates these seeds of thoughts that is inappropriate to be in the child's brain. You got to leave the children out of these discussions of sexuality and so on until they have grown enough to have realized internally and naturally what their gender is and how they're reacting to the opposite gender. And then they will know it themselves. Then when they have created that roots by understanding their roots, because when they're children, they're confused and they are interested to know things, but they don't know anything. So you don't want to program them. You want to leave them to simply react to their own natural interest and inclination. And when they come to an age that they have understood that enough to not to be bamboozled, then maybe that's why I don't like the idea of these adult conversations to be out there for children to hear it and get confused at that age. They hardly know what it is to be a boy or girl, or play this or play with that, or whatever it is that they want to do. Let them be. They will figure it out because it's already programmed in their genes. They don't need any kind of coaching at that age. And at the same time, they don't need any interference of extra discussions about sexuality and so on with things that society thinks that they're informing people, but they're informing children out of something that is irrelevant to them at the point. Even if they are, whatever their gender may be, it's irrelevant to a child at that age to be discussing or be focusing on such questions and such topics. Once they figure it out, which they all figure it out because everybody is being created in a certain way and it's already programmed in their gene when they are born out of their mother's womb, it's not something that's got time fuse that is going to kick in later or whatnot. It just takes time for them to sort things out, but they will then naturally have the natural inclination of what their gender has been created as. And until then, society should stay away from introducing all kind of inappropriate topics that they could, be hearing, or it gets to them or thinking that they're teaching them. No, they shouldn't be teaching them anything. They will follow, like any animal, they will follow their own instinct. And once they're old enough to have made sense out of their instincts and have experienced their inclinations without interference of, adults or improper discussions or being subjected to perversion of any kind, then such topics may be at certain age an intellectual discussion. Otherwise, it's interference. That's what I think about that. Adrian says, I said to Ivan Drago, no more soup for you today. Good job, Adrian. Yeah, somehow in the past 10 months, the number of HOCD sufferers have increased. I don't know what's going on in the world. What kind of I don't know if there is electromagnetic stuff that is out there. I don't know if it's anything to do with the interference of the electromagnetic of the brain or whatever it is. It's happening. Or maybe it's just the way we humans are, and we've always been, but now because of internets we get to know there's so many people are having to deal with this at one age or another. And it's just a normal thing that every human being goes through, because whether you want to know it, whether you know it or not, every single human being on this earth has intrusive thoughts. It's just that when you have OCD and you've been having OCD since childhood, when you end up having to deal with intrusive thoughts, the OCD catches on to it and makes it even worse. So the knowledge about what it is, it helps us to kind of be able to deal with it more intelligently and not to fall for this nonsense. But nevertheless, during the past 10 months seems to be a lot more of such suffering and such management, necessary management about OCD and HOCD and all these things. So, go figure. I don't know what's going on, but the thing is that with knowledge you'll be able to handle it and you wouldn't worry about it more than you should. That it's just annoyance. Sony says male 19 India, and he has some OCD. By OCD says, I'm very worried today, Mehran. No, the worrying is irrelevant. You shouldn't worry. You should understand. You worry because you try to interpret a thought that has showed up. You should not interpret the thought. You should just simply put the thought, intrusive thoughts, in the category of bad thought, intrusive thought. That's it. You don't need to interpret what it means, why it's there, what's the roots of it. None of that shit. All it is one category. Intrusive thoughts, nonsense. Intrusive thoughts, irrelevant. Intrusive thoughts, meaningless. Intrusive thoughts, bullshit. That's all. And on that premise, go on, so you will rewire yourself. Don't fall into the trick of answering a question that is posed, a suggestion posed by brain, and now you feel obligated to answer it. Who are you answering to? Who are you trying to convince? A thought? A thought is no different than a fart. It's a feces. It's an exhaust of a function of a brain. It's a malfunction of an apparatus that happens to be part of the tools of the me, you. So it's not an entity that you're trying to explain to it in order to win your affirmation of your identity. Your identity is never changed. It's a suggestion, a bad suggestion towards your identity. It's like you're walking in the street and some idiot utters an insulting word to you. That doesn't change you. You may get annoyed, but once you forget about it, you will see that there has been no change in you whatsoever. It's no different than if you have $100 in your pocket and you're passing by, somebody says, hey, you don't have $100 in your pocket. That's not going to change what's in your pocket. It's still going to be $100. You may get annoyed that you're insulting me. Are you calling me that I'm not having money in my pocket? Or whatever it is you want to say. I'm not rich, or I'm poor, or that I lied. It doesn't matter what he says and what you say. Fact is, you're still going to have $100 in your pocket when you pass by a block away. It's there. It hasn't changed. Somebody said something. It annoyed you. That's it. Same thing here. Brain said something contrary to what you are and what you're all about, what you possess. And that annoyed you because that's your identity. That's so important to you. You're an important person. You don't like anybody meddle with it. It's no different than if somebody wants to say something terrible about your mom or your dad. You get offended. But really nothing has happened to your mom or to dad. If somebody utters that your mom is a whore or your dad is an asshole, you get offended, you get upset, you maybe get in a fight. But your mom didn't become a whore because it was uttered, and your dad didn't become an asshole. They're exactly as how they were. Same thing. Somebody utters to you something that you're not, you're a thief, or you're an asshole, or you're a heterosexual, calls you homosexual. You may be offended depending on what your gender is and what was uttered to you. But you won't change. It's because it's your identity, it's important to you. You don't want this to be, referred to in a different way than what it is, because you're protective of it. It's so important to you. But in reality, nothing has changed to you, and no effect on you whatsoever. And when you forget about that uttering, you forget about it. Now, you don't do the same thing the same way, you don't behave the same way, or don't react the same way when a intrusive thought shows up, which you should. You just think of it, okay, thought shows up, what does that mean? Nothing. Just like if somebody utters something nasty to you, you get upset, but nothing can change it. It can't change you, nothing can change you. That uttering will not have any effect whatsoever. But emotionally, it bothers you. That's all. All right. And Sony says, today, Miran, just woke up, had kind of a gay dream today. Yeah, because all day time, you think about it, you, discuss it, or you debate it, or you, grapple with the idea, with the intrusive thought that shows up. So when you sleep, just like anything else, you think about it all day long. You think about horses all day long, you're going to maybe dream about horses. I used to play chess a lot. And so when I would sleep, I would actually dream, knights and bishop and rook and so on. So what is that supposed to mean? That I'm a chessboard? No, I've been thinking about it all day, so I'm going to dream about it. That's all. So you keep, dealing with these sort of intrusive thoughts all day and bring these questions, debate on it, data hunt it, and discuss it and debate, argue with it. Well, naturally, that occupies your brain and your, neurons, and when you sleep, they just come to surface, and what you were thinking all day long become into form of dream. But it's got no bloody credibility of any kind. Oh, I dreamed about. So what? I've dreamt of $1 million many times. I don't have it in the bank. If that was that easy, then I'd be thinking about, I don't know, if I need oranges for that day, I'll think about a few hours a day oranges, and maybe when I sleep, I'll dream of it. Then the next day, I'll have oranges in my home. It doesn't work that way. So don't be fooled or bamboozled by it. It's just, okay, you dreamt of it, so big deal. Yeah. If you're in the bus as a kid or as an adult, and you're constantly being hit on by some perverts that they have no respect for other people's lifestyle, and you have to deal with it, that's in your head, you might dream about it. But that doesn't mean you've turned gay. It just means that you're thinking about the events of the day. That's what it is. Now, again, I want to bring to your attention that we are talking about people who are suffering from Hocd. They're heterosexuals that are being attacked by homosexual thoughts. So when we're discussing this, I'm discussing it in order to help heterosexuals who are dealing with these disorders, with these glitches, to understand and deal with it. There is no intention of disrespecting homosexuals or trying to be negative towards their lifestyle. It is about the things that affects the heterosexual in this context. So do not feel any different than this is a topic about a certain thing, and we cannot address a certain topic if we want to be considerate about what other people going to be insulted if we talk about something else here. For example, if I don't like hamburger and I say I don't like hamburger, That doesn't mean that I'm disrespecting the people who like hamburger. It just means, in my case, that is something that it is not normal for me. Let's say, I don't know, I'm a vegetarian. I don't like hamburgers, or I don't like, that kind of a meat. I have maybe I like fish, or whatever it is. We are talking about a certain topic, and in order to be effective, to discuss that topic intelligently, we can't be focused on not discussing it the way it should be discussed because it could offend somebody else. There is no intention of offending anybody here. If it was a homosexual person bringing a question to me here, we would be discussing about that. That could maybe offend a heterosexual, but that's not the intention, because the question here is about what heterosexuals are suffering. Therefore, we're discussing that. So please understand what context we are discussing all these things. Don't be offended. There is no offense here intended. Everybody has a certain gender, and in this particular case, it is affecting mostly heterosexuals, and that's what we're talking about in order to help remedy and manage this suffering. He says, I'm just worried about means this dream is going to happen in the future. Nothing. Zero. Absolutely nothing. Zero. Zilch. It's a dream. Huh? It means nothing. I had a client, and this client in a different business, in real estate. This client had some kind of a weird behavior, and the foreman and me and this client, who was the owner of these the business that we were helping, doing our job, offering our professional services, he was hitting on us. To the point that it was very uncomfortable while we were trying to be diplomatic and save our business, at the same time making sure the guy is behaving properly and just keep him to behave properly. But at the same time, it was uncomfortable. It's not normal for us. And it doesn't matter what your gender is. If it's something against your interest, or it is not something that you intend. For example, even if the person is homosexual and is being hit by another homosexual, but he's not interested, then that would be intrusive. In this case, somebody heterosexual is hitting on another heterosexuals, and to the point that it was being uncomfortable and questionable what kind of this manner is, what is it going on here. And then to the point that it constantly going on, I dreamt about it. So what does that mean? Nothing. It means that because that was a problem, that was a danger, that was some kind of intrusive behavior, then one would dream, because you're dealing with it all day long, right? Over many days. So dreams really is a reflection of what you are trying to deal with, and it has no particular meaning of any kind, unless it's some divine, futuristic, I don't know, spiritual thing. That's a whole different ballgame that may or may not have any intuition or something. But these sort of things, absolutely nothing, zero. Sony says, my mind is convinced I'm bisexual. I don't want to be bi deep inside. I just don't know why is my mind convinced. Listen, as I mentioned to you, if you watch the videos, thought-based stuff have no actuality basis. They're thought-based. And brain is not intelligent. It reacts to whatever information has seeped through the consciousness. It grabs onto it and makes thoughts. That's all. And you're the one who's supposed to select and separate these thoughts from yourself because they've got nothing to do with you. They're production of brain, not yours. It happens to be in the screen of your head because the brain is lodged there. But what it produces is not your responsibility, and you're not supposed to take it as if it's any indication or interest of yours or inclination of yours. It's the brain's work, and brain has no gender. It just makes things. And you're supposed to you're the one who has gender, so you're the one who's supposed to diss what is useless to you and meaningless to you. And so you don't have to accept anything, and that would be a trouble when you fall into accepting thoughts. That's against your biology. It's like the person who thought he's a sofa, or he's a cow, or he's a tiger. But then eventually he woke up, but he woke up when he was about to be a little bit late. But he woke up and says, hey, I'm not. So don't believe thoughts. Your biology has already been created. And it, as I said, is not going to be changing. Your thought conjures up things, but that doesn't change your biology. And you should not be falling for it to believe the thoughts. A thought has no basis. Mazakaral says, hello Mehran, I remember I used to come on your live videos and annoy you with what I was going through with my ex. Okay. I'm doing well now, and I'm over my ex, and I have moved on and found someone else. Aha, that's my boy. Delighted to hear that. So you see now, always remember this. In case this one didn't work, don't lose hope, because just as the other one didn't work and you thought, oh, that's the end of the world, and it wasn't, you found somebody else. If this one didn't work, again, it's not the end of the world, even though you're going to feel that way. Because there's going to be another one. There's always going to be another one. So just chill, cool it, and enjoy. Mazakaral says, I just wanted to apologize for my silly questions about my ex. No, why? I don't remember anything about it, but I'm sure it wasn't silly. It was something that comes with anyone who goes through a breakup. Says, when I should have known better. How could you have known better? If you did know better, you wouldn't have had a problem. But so you didn't. That's why I'm here. So no worries. Says, lol, thanks. You're quite welcome. You're quite welcome. Jesse says, love the honesty of the chat. It's simply beautiful. Thank you, Jose. I appreciate that. Stefan says, hello, Mehran. Hello, Stefan. And Stefan says, my mind feels like I have given up, that I believe I've turned gay. Well, I've told you before, you don't turn gay, because it's not like a delay fuse. And I said before, as many times, it's not like your cow's milk. You wait a little long and it becomes sour milk, buttermilk. And maybe through certain days and some changes in the weather temperature, you become yogurt. Or possibly after a long while, you become cheese. That's not like that. It's chromosomes. Chromosomes have been created. And for that, you have certain characteristics. You have eyes, you have heart, you have kidneys, you have liver. It's like saying, oh, today I think my liver is becoming my kidney. It doesn't. You may think that way, but there's something wrong with your brain, which means you're being delusional. You're buying into brain's thoughts that it's a thought manufacturing plant based on the information that, seeps into the consciousness. But you are supposed to be the boss and selector and not buy into what brain conjures up. Because chromosomes and the way your genes have been put together has a sequence. That sequence doesn't change with the brain's thoughts. Because brain's thoughts and thinking ability wasn't even present when you were being created in your mother's womb. thinking and speaking capability came to you after you were born. So they weren't even in the vicinity or present when you were being put together. Everything, your heart, your kidney, your liver, your eyes, your gender, your genitalia, there was no thoughts in the vicinity. It became part of your tools later on. Same thing 40,000 years ago. Human being was living like an animal for millions of years. And then only 40,000 years ago, eventually was able to speak and think. And that thinking became the roots of all problems because it interferes. And somehow we've been duped to think thinking ability coming from brain, therefore brain is us and we follow the brain. No, there is a me first. There was a you first before 40,000 years ago. Then the addition of the ability of thinking was given to you. You only had the amygdala. That's the base of the brain. But you were surviving like any other animal. Your sexuality was clear to you. You needed to eat or drink, your food, your sleep, your hunt. Everything was clear because there was no thought to interfere. 40,000 years ago, you were able to start learning how to think and speak. That's when you start thinking the brain is you. And then you, since then, been struggling with these illusory things and then falling into it, and then the brain being so powerful, making the body react in a certain way. And since that reaction, feeling, is happening then based on the brain's thinking and the thought creating reaction in the body, that reaction is real. But the actuality of the action that is suggested by the brain is illusory. There is no such thing. As I said in the earlier on to the live stream, is no different than having these, let's say, imagine a sour grape, green grape. It's so sour, it's not sweet, it's so sour. And that green grape that you put it in your mouth and bite into it, or the lemon or lime, you squeeze it, it makes you salivate right now. But there is no lemon. You're reacting to thought. Thought is so powerful from the brain, makes body react to it. But there is no action with that reaction and the emotional thing that is being created. It's a reaction to thought, but there is no actuality to the actual suggestion. Therefore, the everything about it is illusional, but the feeling and reaction to it seems real because a thought can affect the body's behavior or reaction. But the biology and the actuality has not changed. It's still nothing there. So you may have certain kind of a reaction to something because suggested by the brain, and you're reacting to the suggestion. But in reality and actuality, you're not changing, you haven't changed, you will never change, because your liver doesn't change your kidney and the kidney doesn't change to the liver. The chromosomes are not going to change, because if that was the case, guess what? Then the same logic should go that few years from now, then you should go from what you think is a bi to, I don't know, being a girl. Why not? Or from bi back to heterosexual. Or from heterosexual, then a few years later to homosexual. Because if it can be happening once, it can be happening again and again. So who's going to be who? Who knows what? That's not how the universe has been functioning. Look, we are one animal, but we are the only animal who thinks. None of these other animals have the problems that you and I and we are discussing about right now. They've been living for 1 million years, and they have very organized and logical behavior according to their gender, and that question doesn't exist, and you can see their behavior is just as their gender is, and it doesn't change. So what's the difference? Suddenly, no other animals is flipping back and forth from this gender to that gender, but human being, which is another animal, somehow its chromosomes are flip-flopping. From time to time, it changes. It doesn't make. So the only difference between us and the animals, that they're not like that, we feel like this, is because we have thoughts. And the brain is so powerful that makes you react to thoughts. If you learn to separate yourself from thoughts and do not react to it, you have a better chance to deal with it. You understand that this is a glitch, as I explained to you in detail, which I'm going to put it in separate videos, the clips of this morning, to explain how this disorder takes place through striatum, which is the reward seeking center, the goal seeking center, reward center, and habitual center, striatum, which in it there's Hocd nucleus. And when it malfunctions, it doesn't shut down the intrusive thoughts. Could be homosexual thoughts for heterosexuals, could be heterosexual thoughts for homosexuals, who could be bisexual thoughts for heterosexuals, and all different kind of thoughts that is conjured up by the brain. But Hocd nucleus, knowing your inner clearly, knowing your gender and your system, according to that, it's automatically supposed to shut down the intrusive thoughts after the first couple of seconds that you notice them, that they appear. Then it's automatically going to shut down. But when its automatic system doesn't work and goes into the glitch of malfunctioning, then you think it's lingering and you think, oh, then I'm changing. No, you're not changing. It's just the mechanism to shut down automatically is not shutting down. Be aware of it, and with your behavior, rewire your brain through neuroplasticity, and through time you will get the new behavior to be rewired, and Hocd nucleus becomes aware of it, that is what this man did was. It's just malfunction, and then eventually catches on. And if it didn't, you know how to deal with it through your behavior, and it shows up less and less and less, and you will relax about it. Your whole mechanism of defense system is heightened in these situations, and the more heightened it is, the more you try to protect it. The more you try to protect it, the more you're paying attention to it. The more you pay attention to it, the more it's in the screen of your head, which becomes a topic for the brain to make thought of it. So just recognize the intrusive thought, diss it, and don't fuss with it. Let it go, so it will just subside and the brain doesn't catch on to something that is floating on the surface of your brain, and it catches on and makes thoughts with it. Just ignore it. Don't pay attention to it, so the brain will learn, oh, there's no buyer here. There's nobody paying attention to that. Nobody fussing with it. It's not a subject. It's not a topic of interest to discuss or debate it even, so it won't make thoughts about it or make thoughts less. And eventually you will learn how to manage it, and it will show less and less. And if it did show up, they know what to do with it. So that's how it works. Stefan, if you, I'm about to upload a piece that I did this morning, which was a little bit more detailed than what I just said here. This was shorter. It's about 20 minutes, a piece of the two and a half hour live stream that we had today. A question of the same sort came in, and I explained it a little bit more detail. Of course, this is a topic that can be discussed for hours, but and it's a very interesting topic, the behavior of the brain and how we are subjected to the powerful brain and the thought that it makes, and we just got to learn how to manage it, because the brain is part of us. We are not part of the brain. See, brain is supposed to work for me. I'm not working for the brain. So you're not supposed to be listening to the brain. Brain is supposed to listen to your selections. Brain's job is to make thoughts, and your job is to select thoughts. And the thoughts that are irrelevant to you based on your core principles, wise advocate, gatekeeper, you diss it, because your system knows what you're all about, and you're not supposed to be buying into what the brain suggests. You're supposed to be following what you're all about, how you've been produced and created in the wombs of your mother, and protect that. How do you protect it? By dissing and not paying attention to the meaningless suggestions of the brain, because the brain malfunctions. You haven't malfunctioned. Brain has malfunctioned. So understand it and stand your grounds. You'll be fine. Learn how to deal with it. It's no different than you have a crazy friend and he constantly makes things that are just out of whack. And the brain, we all have crazy brain particles and fragments, and it goes haywire. So deal with it, not give in to it. Deal with it. Say, oh, there, you crazy friend of mine, you'll be okay, and just go about your business. Do your own thing. Oh, there, you'll be okay. I realize you have intrusive thoughts. That's okay. You're not supposed to be giving in to what the crazy fragment of your brain is talking about. You're supposed to teaching it to come back to what it's supposed to, how it's supposed to function. So, all right. And Adrian says, read a book a few days ago, a quote saying, for the honest man, life is nothing but a filthy scam. Yeah, true. What did the writer wanted to say? The fact that everybody is negotiating life based on an image. The image that is necessary for them to have in order to interact with another image. So let's say you're in the store, you want to buy something, you have an image of yourself as a shopper. That's the image you are using to negotiate that transaction, that purchase, that shopping experience. The person who's actually working in the store has an image of the clerk. But the same person as a clerk, or you as a shopper, when you sit in the bus, you have an image of a passenger. When you're driving the bus, you have an image of a bus driver. If you're in school, you have an image of a student. If you're teaching the class, you have an image of a teacher. If you're with your parents, you have an image of a son or daughter. If you're with your children, you have an image of a father and mother. These images are how you negotiate life with. Depending on what part of the day it is and what you're using it, you have different images. So really there's nothing honest about it, because you're always in a certain kind of a role. Like Shakespeare said, your world is on a stage. And you're always in some kind of a role. So it's pretty dishonest scam, because you have to put up with other people's images. They're not real. Somebody's dressed nicely and smiles, and you figure that person has really got it all figured out, and his or her life is all together. He's got no shit in his brain or her brain, no intrusive thoughts there, because he's smiling and he's got nice clothes and hair all, and the shoes are shined up, and or she's in high heels and all dude up and looks very happy. All bullshit. You're giving into an image that they're projecting, and you see them in a certain image. You have no knowledge of them. That's why you think their life is all perfect. But knowing about yourself, and your life could be far better than theirs, but because you know about your shortcomings and the things you're dealing with, you think your life is shit. But your snapshot of their life is their smile, and the fact that they're walking suddenly makes you think that they've got it all figured out and their life is all perfect. But your life, because you know everything about you, you judge yourself, and you judge yourself the way you do. But you judge them based on knowing nothing about them, but you judge them favorably, because you're just only seeing their image out of them, not the reality of them. So the whole thing is really a scam. Look at what's going on to the world right now. How can you know who's telling the truth, who's not? What's going on with all these things that we're doing, all the masks we're wearing, and I wear them, I go to shop, wear them, trying to be compliant to protect myself, because there is apparently some disease out there, and protect others, whatever. We do comply according to what is being told. But really, what is going on? What is the intention of all these things? There were other things that were, even more serious in the past. We got to do everything we got to do to protect ourselves. But really, what are the actual complete truth? Knowledge is always limited. We think we know it. We know everything that there is to know about this certain topic, but we don't. Whether it's this topic that I just, touched on, or whether it's topic of, what life is all about and the negotiations you have with other human beings and what you know about them, if you know everything about them, if you really know them. You hardly know your girlfriend. And then you wonder why we broke up. Because all through time, you had an image of yourself, about yourself in your mind, and you had the image of her, about her in your mind. And she had the image of you, about you in her mind, and she had the image of her, about her in her mind. And these images were having a relationship with each other. But when you guys got into a little bit longer relationship, you start getting to know each other, and you found out that you actually don't hit it off. Because you never knew each other. And you became surprised about things that you started to get to know each other, because until then you knew each other by image. So everything is like a mask. So anyhow, maybe that is something what the writer wanted to say, but I don't know what he wanted to say. I'm just, from what you said, that's what I think he wanted to say. Anyhow, that is what I wanted to say. All right. My goodness. Oh my goodness. There are so many. Jose Navarro says, as a straight man, I can tell you that there is no sexual attraction to another man, just infatuation to this character, to his character. It's different from sexual attraction. Wish you the best. Yeah, that's true. There's energy that runs through everybody, and many people, especially young men who didn't have much friends in school, now when they have a friend, they're excited because it's an interaction with another male which is like themselves. And these camaraderies or these compatibilities, because they haven't had much experience with it, they think, oh, that is some kind of a sexual attraction. No, it's not. It's just excitement about being friends with someone, having things in common. And that's perfectly normal. But today, there's so much shit in the schools and bullyings and so on, and groups and this, and not being part of the whole thing, and they're trying to devise each other and separate each other and bully each other and all that, that not everybody gets a chance to have an experience of a healthy experience of friendship and group friendship and so on. So this would become what childhood is all about, to become a normal experience of knowing how to have friends. And if that doesn't happen, which in many cases it doesn't, then when you end up growing up and you're out of it, you're just your own man and you find friends and then you're interested in that friendship, you think that means something. No, it doesn't mean it. That's how friendship is. To be excited to see each other, to have, to bonding and, do things and enjoy the energy that is flowing. But at no time you would feel like, hey, I actually want to, get naked. No. Neither you want to have anything to do with that, or you don't want the other guy have anything to do with that. These could be thoughts, that intrusive thoughts that could appear in the head, but biologically you have no interest in that. So these are just the thing that happens in the brain, and if you can understand that these are all interest in the energy and the humanity, and the interaction has got nothing to do with the sexuality or sexual interests, but the thought, the brain catches on to it and then creates some kind of intrusive thoughts with it, because that's the job and function of a negative mind. And then you get fooled to think, oh, because it comes from my brain, then it means something. No, it's not. It's all bullshit. You got to be wiser than that to understand how to manage your faculties and how to interpret them and understand them, and don't let them bamboozle you by this kind of nonsense that is perfectly natural. To notice somebody's handsome is perfectly natural. Not supposed to, I'm not supposed to notice another man's good looks. Why? If you're good looking, you also are interested to see other good looking people, and it's pleasant. And you're proud of the fact that, there are other good looking people around. That's good. Nothing wrong with it. But it's got nothing to do with sexual interest. Even if the brain conjures up that. is trying to be opportunist and create bullshit. All right. Link says, I think the main reason why OCD is so prevalent during the past 5 months were mainly due to the quarantine for the certain situation. Well, I have a video that explains the effect of the quarantine and the mechanical life that we have. If you guys look for that, let me see if I can find that. That's a very interesting discussion that I uploaded maybe just about a week ago, maybe. Just recently uploaded a 3-part series, Why You Talk to Your Brain. Part 1 and Part 2 has been published, and Part 3 will be published tonight. And there is one called Know Your Brain Deeper, Why Brain Goes Nuts. And I think that's the one I want you guys to make note of and watch. So here it is. Here's the link. I want you guys, when you're interested, sit down and watch this. This is about 20 minutes, but it's very worthwhile to get to know your brain better. So, now I have Carpe Diem with Super Chats. My goodness, Carpe Diem always supports the channel. Thank you very much for Carpe Diem. And Carpe Diem says, please support Mehran. Thank you for addressing my question. Happy Thanksgiving weekend. You are a wonderful person. Well, thank you very much, Carpe Diem. I appreciate it. Well, let me find your question, because I haven't seen your question. It's been so many questions right now that I haven't gotten to it. And let's see, where is it? Let me hunt that down, because traditionally when we have a super chat, we go directly to that question. And let's see if I can find Carpe Diem's question. Ah, there it is. There it is. Okay. Carpe Diem says, great to see you, Mehran. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you too as well. And thank you for that. And he says, Mehran, how can one get rid of fear of death? Oh. And fear of your loved ones passing away. Oh. Beautiful question. For that, I need to have a sip of my tea and refresh. Because I believe I addressed that once. Now, I'm not going to think about what I said last time, because I usually don't say same thing 2 times unless I'm really into that for a long haul. Let me see. Okay, so Carpe Diem says, how can one get rid of fear of death and fear of your loved ones passing away? You got to understand that death is part of life. When you separate death from life, then you're always fearful of it. When you allow your mind to shorten the distance between here and there, then there is no there. It's all here. So if there is death, death becomes here, and you become in close proximity of it, then you start shivering about it. Don't allow your brain to conjure up and bring about the future that doesn't exist and make it the now. The only thing that is reality and actuality is the now. Now, the brain can travel into illusory time and create time in the future which hasn't arrived, because there is no future. When there is a future, that's today. So there's always a now. There is no such thing as future. It's not like tomorrow is waiting for you to catch up with it. There is no tomorrow. But when it is the next day, that is now again. So there's only now. And there's only one now. And that now is the now that you're living. You're talking to me right now. So there is no now that death resides. We're not there yet. So if there is only one now, and that one now is occupied by now, by what we're doing right now, why are you bringing something that doesn't exist and then imagine it that it actually could have actuality because you thought of it? Why don't you right now, you and I both, wherever you are, you're in Calgary, I'm here. Why don't we both think that we are at the top of the, I don't know, Kilimanjaro or Mount Everest? Because we, let's say, have a plan to be there in the next 5 years. Let's imagine that we are there. But are we there? We're not there. We just imagined it, right? Just because we imagined it, that didn't happen. That 5 years from now, that we think we will be on top of the Mount Everest, it didn't happen. Just because we imagined that 5 years from now we'll be there, that 5 years didn't come to be the now. And we didn't end up to be sitting on top of the Mount Everest just because imagined it. Like, that didn't happen, did it? So why is it that when you imagine death, which is just further than 5 years and 10 years usually, suddenly you believe it because you bring that illusory point in time into the now, and you exchange it with what is happening in the now, and you believe it. So again, it's a thought, illusory thought that you believe in, and it's like believing in anything without any evidence. You decide to believe in something without any evidence, and then you believe it, and then you pay the consequences. But if you really think about it, just because you believe in something, that's not a good evidence. I believe I have $1 million in the bank. That's not a good evidence unless I go to the bank and they say, yes, you do. But it doesn't matter how much I sit here and think about it, it won't happen. So how come you think it happens if you think about there is a death that you should be dealing with it? Well, you shouldn't. And when the death comes, you actually don't have to deal with it because it comes, gone, you're done. What's the use of fearing from something that you will never have to deal with it? Because if you die, you die. There's nothing to deal with. If you haven't died, then there's nothing to deal with it. If you died, then you're dead. There's nothing to deal with because you're not there to deal with anything. You can't be dead and alive at the same time. So, and if you are not dead, then there's nothing to deal with. There's no death to deal with it. So what is it that you want to deal with? Something that it will never exist for you. When I die, I die. I wouldn't know that I'm dead. Died. Finished. The fear of not being here is there, but that fear belongs to something that hasn't happened yet. So why would I bring the fear of something that hasn't happened to the now that is, I'm having my tea? Why should I create a wave, an untrue, something that has no basis, and frighten myself because there is a possibility? Well, what's the difference? There is a possibility that if I want to go shop across the street, a truck or a car could hit me. That's death. So death actually, really, it's in every moment. I could get a heart attack right now. Who knows? I've been taking good care of myself, but who knows? I could be going out there and walking, maybe some, I don't know, meteor hits me or a truck hits me. Closer than that. Or maybe I eat something and I get poisoned and I die. So that this possibility of death, I can make it to be at every moment of my life. So what am I going to do? Be worried about it every second? Or just simply worry about it for whenever it happens, which is, I don't know when. So why should I worry about something that is neither here, nor do I know when, but there is a possibility, like there's a possibility of everything else in this world. Who knows? Maybe, I don't know, a bomb could hit here. Who knows? So why? The whole thing is that we're conjuring it up. There's no assurance that I will die tomorrow or I won't die tomorrow. But what's best for me? To worry about something that I'm not sure of? or simply live in the moment, which I know, hey, I'm sure this tea, that's a better way of spending my energy. Because if I think the other way, afraid of things that don't have any real evidence for it, then I will be ruining all the moments that is in between from here to someday or something that happens that I will die, and I'll be wasting that, and I will not enjoy the chances that I had to enjoy before that horrible day may come up someday, for however, tomorrow, the next day, 10 years from now. I don't know how. But what's the logic of me thinking about something that is unproductive? What's the logic of being fearful of something that I don't know if it will happen tomorrow or in 10 years or 20 years, 30 years or 40 years from now? Why would I mess up the good things that I can accomplish between now and then? The then, I don't know when. So why don't I stop making illusory creations of something that is neither pleasant nor clear when it is, what it is, where it is. Because that, it only induces me to become paranoid for no reason. I want to be functional. I want to enjoy. I'm in this life and I want to enjoy it. How? I bring assurance to myself. How? By being in the moment. There is no danger in the moment for me, and the moment that there would be a danger of death for me, it's the moment that I will never remember, because that will be just gone. And before that happens, there are the moments that that danger is not there. So why would I be thinking about a danger that is not there? And when that danger, that particular danger of death is there, I wouldn't even know it. Unless they tell me that I have cancer, and then I would be thinking about it, that when it will happen. But even then I wouldn't know. So I would be taking every moment as the now and enjoy it as much as I can, because what other choices do we have? Now, on the topic of fear of our loved one, that is because they are so important to us that we want to protect, and we want certainty, and we want continuation. And that is what human being always wanted, to be able to protect what's so important to him or her. Parents, children, loved ones, his own life, and bring certainty. We have always been after certainty. The reason we're afraid of it because we are not certain. And we are the past, and our parents are part of our past, which is part of who we are. And we don't want to lose them because they are part of who we have become. And whatever is part of us, we don't want to lose it. So it's natural. You have a bicycle, you're afraid of losing it, let alone your parents or your children. So these are natural feelings, and there is no ifs and buts, there is no escape from it. We will always be afraid of that. But again, we don't know when, so let us rejoice and celebrate when it hasn't happened. And let's don't ruin all the wonderful times that we have with them that it hasn't come yet. So why should we go ahead and be afraid of something that hasn't happened yet for the fear of that it someday will happen? Well, when it happens, well, what choice did we have? It's not something that we would have wished it or we would have affected it. It happened, and we will see what happens. I don't know what will happen. I don't know how one would react. But at the time, that would be something we would have to deal with. But right now, there's no such thing. So why do we ruin when there is no such poison, when there is no such thing, and ruin it by illusory thinking about it, and the times that we can enjoy all the happiness of having them around, we be in the fear of when we would not have them, which would mean we are suffering two times. One when we actually will lose them, and one all the way from now until we lose them. Why? Why would we help the paranoia and the negativity and the disaster of life to linger and be with us until that someday that disaster possibly happens? At least when we are not sure and we don't know, we want to enjoy the fact that they're there and they are with us, rather than focusing on what if they someday will not be with us. Let's focus on the fact that they are with us, and that's the actuality, because that we don't know when, if at all. Maybe they'll live for hundreds of years, who knows? So I don't know if I answered the question, but I think that's the only way to handle with it. Otherwise, we won't be able to breathe because we'll always be frightened from everything that we love, and we love lots of things in this life. And Carpe Diem says, please give Mehran thumbs up. He's a wonderful and caring person. He is here for us. I thank you very much for your kindness, Carpe Diem. You are also a wonderful person. You're always here supporting the channel, and that's very much appreciated. Whether it's with your wallet or whether it's with your word or presence, it's always appreciated. I appreciate every one of you to be here and supporting the channel. I think I missed Zedkill's question. I think I jumped over. And let's go back to where we were. And Art says, hello. Hello, Art. Thank you for being here. And delighted that you feel much better from the HOCD nonsense, and glad that you're watching the videos and educating yourself. Chester says, male 27, Hawaii. Oh my goodness, Hawaii, my hometown, you know, adopted hometown, where I am at my best. Hawaii is my home. I love Hawaii. Aloha, Chester. Mahalo. So, what do you do there? Which island are you in? And Rosedric says, sup. I guess that means what's up. Okay, Zedkill says, oh man, I hope I'll get here someday and learn to know better too. All right. And so Zedkill says, I've asked Mehran so often about my ex that I hear his answers without even asking anyone. That's where I want you to be, because you either do that or there will be this. So take your poison. I forgot to turn these lights on. Hang on, guys. I got to give a little bit more light here because I forgot to turn the lights on. Well, all right. So, I don't know what happened that I forgot to turn the lights on. And nobody said anything. Was the lighting okay? Arjun says, hello, sir. Arjun, India, 26 male. Thank you for that. And he says, sir, I don't feel good for a few months. I feel like I have some limitations, I fear health harm, I feel insecure, I'm in a loop. I lost my confidence even in sex, feeling low. Well, it's all right. Even hippopotamus sometimes feels low and doesn't feel like having sex and doesn't feel like doing the activities that he or she always did. That's all right. We're animals. We have moods up and down. Sometimes horses win a race, and the same horse, the same conditions, same other horses may lose that race. It depends on the mood, the way you behave, or the way you react to things, the circulations, the mechanical process in your life, the confinements that we're all going through, the changes of the society and the rules and all the uncertainties. All of that affects you. An Olympic athlete can do such an amazing record and job in the field that he or she is expert in one day, and the next day, same person, same everything, same conditions, same weather, can't perform it that way. Because we're not machines. We have emotions. We're like the ocean. Wave comes in, wave goes out. Different reasons, the weather, the wind, the elements, all these things can affect the movement of the wave of the ocean, even though it's the same ocean, but its temper, its behavior is different depending on all the other elements that affects it. And so you're like the wave of the ocean. Sometimes up, sometimes down, sometimes not so much, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes with big waves, sometimes short waves, small waves. That's all right. That's what we are. Otherwise, we would not be called human beings. We would be called robots. So you're no different, and you're not supposed to find certainty in the monotonous or in not changing things dynamically. We are part of the movement of the universe and nature. And nature, with its energy, constantly changes. And depending on how focused you are to bring about this energy that flows throughout the universe from one end of the universe to the other end of the universe, how you can bring them and focus them and then focus them outwardly, extend them outwardly, and different times, depending on how much of it you bring in, how much focus you have, your extension of the energy of the universe is going to be different. Even the energy of the universe is always the same. It's always as just powerful. But depends on how much of that you actually can bring in and focus and then expand and extend outwardly. Depends on your, mood and abilities and focus and enthusiasm at the time. Harmony that you have with the nature also changes your flexibility or your ability to absorb the differences and changes and challenges of the day. So that's okay to be up and down, not a problem. Rosedrick says, I feel like I beat HOCD a little bit. Yes, of course. And you beat big things or anything bit by bit. And you got to focus on the bits. All those bits adding up, you destroy it. And you learn how to manage it. No big deal. It's part of being a human. And we have another super chat from our generous member, Carpe Diem again. And Carpe Diem says, please support this channel. Thumbs up. It has changed many of our lives for the better. Thank you, dear Mehran. And thank you very much, dear Carpe Diem. You really embarrass me because you're so kind and so helpful to this channel, always have been. And I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And so where were we? Jose says, please support the channel subscribers. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. If you haven't liked the live stream, please like. And Rosedrick asked, whose HOCD started during quarantine? Oh, many people's. And I have explained that relationship of the quarantine and the mind, and therefore its behavior, in the link that I just put up for you guys. And here it is. I put the link again here. I want you guys watch this. It's a 20-minute video, and it helps you to understand your brain a little bit better. And these are not discussions that you can really find anywhere, pretty much. Very difficult to come across such discussions, but here it is. I have made efforts willingly, with love, to bring that information to you, and they're all reflected in the playlist called Intrusive OCD, HOCD short videos. And again, some of them are not really short, but these are the videos that they do not discuss nitty-gritties and interpretations and the reasons for the intrusive thoughts, what it means, why it's coming from, where is it coming from, what's the roots of it. None of that. It actually has to do with the real discussions about the behavior of the brain, which is very important. And I want you guys to focus on that playlist. Intrusive OCD, HOCD short videos. I forgot the name of it. The other one is Intrusive Transient OCD, HOCD negative thoughts. That one talks about the, reasons and so on, and it's descriptive about the behavior and why a thought pattern starts that way and so on. That's different, but I want you to focus on this other playlist, because it focuses on the main thing, which is behavior and the structure and characteristics of brain, thoughts, and you. So, and Spylix says, can HOCD make you gay? No, it doesn't. I've been trying to say that, for heaven's sake, in all videos in the past hour or so. Where have you been? No, it cannot. If thought, which HOCD is thought-based, could have made such things, then what would stop it from making other things? Coming back to something else, changing back to something else. I don't know, having 3 eyes or 3 ears or 2 noses. I mean, you're changing chromosome and your whole structure. So, because gender is the same. Oh, you can't change the gender, but you can't change the other things. Well, if you can change with thoughts one thing, you can change with thoughts all the other things. That's not happening, is it? And you can change in thoughts and many other things that is even outside of you. I don't know. Once you give 3, extra wheels to that car that is just passing by thinking of it, it's no different than what you're really going through in your head. But you think that's possible because that's my head. Oh, it's your head, but that's also your butt. but it sheds and it's not useful. You got to get rid of it. Not anything, not just everything that is being uh, produced by your entity is got any credibility or usefulness. They're biological exhausts which you poo it out as you need to, or urinate it. These are what the system does to get rid of things that is useless and it's meaningless. It doesn't have any use for you. Brain also is active. It creates activity. It does lots of things. And because it does lots of things, it also has malfunctions, and it also has to get rid of residues and exhaust and feces, because it does create other things and it's functioning, and because of that function there's going to be an exhaust, and that exhaust sometimes shows up in the form of intrusive thoughts because it goes wacko. And in that particular video, 20-minute video that I just put the link up there, you will get to know how it actually, other reasons that it can make the brain go nuts and why. So I hope you will enjoy it. Spylix, I don't know what you're talking about, Spylix. I've discussed your question already. I don't necessarily go through every question when I see all questions, bunch of questions are the same, and my answer, elaborate answer, is going to cover most of the questions about HOCD. So I don't particularly come back to another question about HOCD when I've already covered that answer in the previous question. So that is why probably Splix or whatever that thumbnail screen name is, I don't necessarily come back to every one of them. Again, don't focus on the meaning of particular thought that shows up in your brain in order to deal with your HOCD. Focus on the generality of the behavior of the brain that I'm discussing. That's where the answer is, not into the interpretation of each individual thoughts that show up. They are meaningless. It doesn't matter what they mean. It has no sense in what they mean. It's meaningless. You got to focus on the fact that this is what the brain does, and the whole thing in that topic is meaningless. You got to focus on your wise advocate, your gatekeeper, your core values, and then focus on that and understand these are intrusive to that. That's all. You don't need to say, what kind of intrusive? Why did it come in? It doesn't matter. I explained to you. You know? You don't need to explain to your brain why what it has conjured up and popped up as form of thought is wrong and not pertaining to you. You don't have to prove to it. The fact that it's wrong, that's all it matters. You don't need to prove to it. What is the brain that you're discussing with? What entity is it? What is it that you're trying to get its affirmation in order to regain your identity because a fucking brain has brought up some kind of a thought out of where? It's a fucking machine. And you're falling for the machine to tell you what your identity is or doubt about your identity which has always been how it was. You are the past. How you lived, how you've been born, how you've been put together. That's who you are. But now you're listening and trying to discuss with a machine, with a brain, to convince it so you can regain your identity. You are the boss. There is a you, there is a me. Alive is you. The brain is the apparatus. You're trying to prove to the apparatus and get this affirmation to be who you want to be. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And instead, you're focusing on, oh, that thought came in. I have to now argue that thought. I have to come up with an evidence to prove that that thought is not right about me. It's not right about you. You know it. And that's all the person that needs to know. Not the brain. Who's the brain? What is the brain? It's like you try to prove to your butt that this shit is no good for you. You got to get rid of it. No, you do what you got to do. You go to the bathroom, shit it out, and take the, flush the toilet. That's it. You don't get approval from the butt. Excuse me, but what you are doing is not me. Well, yeah, I got to get rid of this. Okay, yeah, let's get rid of it. Same thing, brain comes up with bullshit. You just simply don't have to prove to it that it's bullshit. The fact that you know it's bullshit, you discard it. You don't need the approval of the brain to discard it. Just discard it. That's what I'm trying to show you here. That's the key to deal with HOCD. You don't need approval of the brain. You don't need to data hunt it. You don't need to argue with it. You don't need to prove to it. If you're walking in the street and somebody utters nonsense and insults your mother or your father, you don't go and try to say, hey, what you said for this reason and that reason is wrong about my mother. My mother is this and this. You don't prove it. You beat the crap out of the guy. That's all. Or you just move on and pay no attention to the nonsense. If that's the case, every time somebody says something bullshit, you got to stop and start getting into altercations. You don't do that. You just move on. Just fuck him. That's it. That's what you do. You move on. Same behavior through your brain. I want you guys to understand that you're being fooled and bamboozled by your own brain. Don't. Learn how the brain malfunctions. I've explained it in so many different languages. But if you don't watch the videos and you just expect it to go away without understanding why it's got no credibility and how it functions and malfunctions, and on that basis you should not behave in any different way than just dissing it and pay no attention to it. If you don't do that, then you'll always have these questions forever. Listen, there's all kinds of things in this world. You're not supposed to be proving to everything that is not you that this is not me and pertaining to me and interesting to me because of this reason, this reason, this reason. You just see it, you know it's not for you, and you move on. As I said in the earlier on today, like a supermarket. You're in a supermarket. There are all kinds of products there, and cans and packages and products and so on and so forth. You don't get the management or the manufacturer or the actual start debating with the can on the shelf that, hey, the reason I'm not gonna buy you because what you have in here, the ingredients that you have, the thing is going to be allergic to me and I have certain kind of a condition. You don't. You just see it and it's not good for me. You move on. And that's the same thing with the brain. A brain has got all kind of abilities, of all kind of thoughts based on whatever information is out there that seeps through the consciousness. It grabs onto it and makes thoughts. That's what it does. Brain makes thoughts. But you're not supposed to hang around and debate every thought and why this thought is not pertaining or is not wanted by you, is not interesting to you. Why is it meaningless to you? You don't debate it. You just make a decision. That's not me. That's the end of it. I'm not paying attention to you. I'm not going to convince the brain about why this is not me. I know it is not me because I'm the most important thing in here to make the decision, not the brain. Who's the brain? You got it? Don't piss me off now. Go watch the videos. All right. And remember, I cannot want health and mental health for you more than you would want it for you yourself. I'm just a catalyst. I've provided the information, the videos, because I care about the people who are suffering in this way or in any other way. Obviously, the channel is not making economically my life to become in comfort. I'm doing it because I believe this is something that I can help, and I like to be productive. I like to be helpful to the humanity for the little ways that I can, as everybody should try to bring something positive in the life of the others in this world, in this journey of life. So obviously, the motivation, although I like it to be financial results and responses so I can dedicate more time and then live my life in this way, which I love to help people with these kind of information and be a solution to the problem of people. But this is not happening. So the motivation here at this point definitely is not economical. But you need to have some kind of initiative and interest to help yourself, to watch the videos patiently and watch the links of the scientists and researchers and psychotherapists and psychologists, clinical psychologists like Dr. Philipson, Dr. Jan Weiner, Dr. Schwartz, Dr. Owens, all these researchers that have put the links for you. Fucking educate yourselves rather than sitting and crying at home and thinking that you have become changed in your gender. Learn how the brain functions and then put it to work. Don't be fooled getting sucked into the rabbit holes that the brain throws out thoughts and you go after. Oh, what does it mean? Now I got to debate it. No, that's not me. I got to prove that that is not me. You don't have to prove shit. You are the proof. You are who you are, how you've been born. You're not going to change. Understand that, then now go about and look for the malfunction of the brain. That's it. The rest of it is just you're going to be tormenting yourself and tormenting me because I really want you guys to get it. Now we have a super chat from Intraday Specialists. Says, what would you tell someone who won't let go of the past and won't grow from it? They keep bringing it up and won't live on the present. Well, I would like to have more information about what kind of a topic of the past is it that this person doesn't let go. Is it relationship? Is it breakup? What is it? That would be helpful. However, generally speaking, there are many reasons one stays in the past. One reason is that is not satisfied with the way that he or she handled a certain situation in the past. Now keeps going into the memory, trying to change things in the memory, hoping that that would actually rectify how that person behaved or reacted or handled or managed that situation at the time that it was happening. So for that reason, one has to simply forgive herself or himself for the way or incompetent way or insufficient way that one handled a certain situation at the time and get over it. And understand that there's nothing you can change about that, but you can learn from it and then not let it happen or handle if it happened again. That's one thing. Another reason that one goes and stays in the past is because if it's a relationship, again, I'm spitballing here because I don't have enough information, is because the brain is also looking for security, just like you look for security for your body. But the brain's security is not found in the same way that the body finds it. Body finds the security by when you touch it, it's here, I'm here, and I'm in my own apartment, and the apartment's door is closed, and it's in a good area, so I'm safe. So physicality of the environment brings safety, physical safety. So the body needs physical safety, which is through parameters and through you knowing where things are, so okay. But the brain doesn't have a physicality to it, and it therefore the physical environment, safe physical environment, is not enough for the brain to feel safe. It finds its safety, the brain, in the routine of life, through mechanical processes that it chooses to be engaged in life, such as things that it does, Goes to school, goes to work, goes to gym, goes to coffee, goes to friends, goes to this and that, so forth. And whatever it does, that is the mechanical process. So through mechanical process, it creates a certain routine. That routine brings about a certain order. And that order is where the brain finds its security, in the order of life. Now, when a person has broken up or somehow something has happened, that particular mechanical process is not continuing. The stuff that he used to do or she used to do cannot do him. It's broken for one reason or another, which means the routine is broken, which means the order is no longer there, which means the brain is not finding its security because it finds its security through the order, and the order is no longer functioning. So it goes into the memory. Because in the memory, the copy and the memory and the record of how the mechanical processes were, hence how the routine was, hence how the order was, is there. So when it goes in the memory, it finds the order. And through that order, copy of the order in the memory, mind finds order, that it doesn't exist in the actuality outside. So it keeps going in the memory to find how things used to be, whether it's relationship or whatever it was. And when it's there, it finds how things used to be, which with it, there is an order. And with that order, it finds security. And it's for the security that it keeps going in the memory until it comes out and finds and creates other mechanical processes, and through those brings in new order, and through those new routine, and through that new routine finds a new order. And the brain no longer needs to go to the memory to find security and safety, because a new order has been established and finds its security in that order. And that perhaps could be a couple of things that I could talk about, not knowing really exactly what you are referring to. Intraday specialists. We have Jose Navarro help the channel with $5 super chat. Says the doctor is cooking now. Again, remember, I don't want any misunderstanding here. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a psychotherapist, and I don't claim to be one. So my research is independent, and I want to make sure people do not make mistakes. If you need help from your doctor, you got to contact your psychologist and so on. And thank you for that. And let's see what else we have here. We have... And Rexit says, I have lost anxiety for my gay thoughts and I am in puberty. So does that mean I'm gay? No, not at all. In fact, when you simply understand that it's a fact of life, some people are gay. And you don't need to think of that this is good or this is bad. This is fact. Some people are gay, some people are not. Different genders, right? So when you lose that kind of a focus and heightened alertness about protecting yourself against something that you're not, then you'll stop having that anxiety and that sensitivity that you're talking about that you lost, which is good. You know, sometimes, in fact, people who have these thoughts, they put a picture of a good-looking person on their cell phone, and let it be there so they can get used to that. It's okay for admiring or liking someone who looks good. That's very good. What's wrong with that? We all like good-looking things. Good-looking suit, good-looking briefcase, good-looking handbag, good-looking shoes. We like good design and good-looking things. And we also like good-looking dog, good-looking horse, good-looking human beings, good-looking child, good-looking woman, good-looking man, good-looking grandpa, good-looking grandma. These are all pleasant energies because we get energy from something that aesthetically is symmetric, and that's part of the human abilities and interests. Nothing wrong with that. So that is okay. But that has nothing to do with thinking that because you like somebody, you enjoy and appreciate somebody's good looks. then that means you're gay. No. But because everything is talking about sex and everything has a sexual association to it, we are being perfectionists and diehard heterosexuals, and this whole idea of being a little bit, you know, being uninvited and different in the minds of heterosexuals, this whole topic of homosexuality and so on. So we are heightened on that, and we became very sensitive about protecting our heterosexuality more than it's necessary, and then it becomes and turns into intrusive thoughts, because the brain, negative part of the brain, catches on and wants to alert you and then attacks you with the opposite of what you are in order to protect you and alarm you and alert you, and that creates all kinds of intrusive thoughts further than it's necessary and further than it's normal, which then you have to deal with it in such ways that you are dealing with it now. So, remember, guys, I need to know your age. I need to know where you're tuning in from, because I want to make sure that if you're underage, you have permission of your parents to be here. And I want to make sure that I know which age I'm talking to, because I don't want to have someone who is not supposed to be here unless you have, you know, permission from your parents to be here. And it is good if you don't give each other advice when you're not educated in the matter, because you can confuse each other by what you're already confused with, and you give it as advice to somebody else, but because it's coming from somebody else, like from you to somebody else, to that someone, you are somebody else, and that kind of has some kind of a credibility, and if it's confusing already, then you also confuse them. So it's best if you just ask your questions here rather than giving it to each other. That would be best. Yeah. Rosedrick says, I was that one kid that gets all the girls at school. I was pretty boy. All right. Especially if you're a handsome kid. And there's always this stigma with, if you're good looking, then you must be gay. Why? Because there's a connotation that a real man looks ugly, because all the movies have shown these strong men and real men being rude, ugly, and, you know, rough and all that. That has been the stereotype of what man's supposed to look like. So if you're good looking and suddenly you have a problem with the narration that is put out there that real men look ugly and rough, therefore you're good looking, therefore you have to now prove that you're a real man. That's a problem that has been created by the bullshit in the movies and theaters and the narratives that has been out there, and you shouldn't buy into it. You can be any look. You're a man, it doesn't matter what. You've been born and created as a heterosexual man, therefore you're a man regardless of how you look. And if you're good looking, well, that becomes a little bit of a difference between what the stereotype of a man is being portrayed in the movies, and then you will start thinking, oh, maybe then I'm not real. I have to prove it. And in order to prove it, all kind of intrusive thoughts comes to your mind. Maybe I'm not because I'm good looking. No. Or maybe because I'm now seeing another good looking boy, which I'm happy. Oh, it's another good looking boy because like me. And you feel safe because there's another one in the same group. And suddenly says, oh, I noticed the good looking of the other man. Maybe that's homosexual. No, it's not. It's just recognizing somebody else that is just as good looking as you or is in the same group, and you become happy about, because we all like to. It's like you go to a convention and you're a tennis player and say a sports convention, all kinds of athletes are there. What do? You don't know anybody in the group of the tennis players, but you go towards that. Why? Because you have an affiliation. You have a common thing. You're a tennis player and they're a tennis player. You don't know any of them, but you go into that group. So if you're good looking and you see a good looking guy, you kind of like him. And that liking is because it's got something that you feel, oh, there's more of my kind out there, good looking kind. But that doesn't mean that because you like the guy, then now you're homosexual because you liked another guy. No, it's a different like. It's not a sexual like. It's a reaction to the pleasantry of the look of that person because it finds it something in common, like with you. And these are all fine. Don't interpret any of that shit. I don't want to interpret it for you because I want you to focus. These are intrusive thoughts, not need to be interpreted. Just let them be. Don't go data hunting. I do some of it for you so you can see the logics behind it, but don't follow it. All right. Yeah. You got to protect your brain. Red Kid says, my HOCD started by watching some kind of a program and all the characters were gay pretty much, and my mind could just not stop focusing on it. This is what the brain does. Catches on any kind of information that comes in and then makes thoughts of it. And if you keep watching these things, well, then obviously you'll be focusing on something and then the brain makes thoughts of what you're focusing on. So don't watch things that is not of your interest, because then the brain catches on and then you start buying into what the brain is producing. Oh, what are you doing? It's just like somebody grabs a hammer and keeps knocking it on his nuts and says, why my nuts gets hurt? Well, you don't stop hitting the hammer on it. So let it go. I hope that explains your behavior. All right. All right. And we have another super chat from Jose. Says, I work in finance in the entertainment industry. I have a lots of responsibilities. I have a lots of anxiety. What are ways to claim my nerves? Simply do not look at the whole workload that you have to handle. Only focus on the one that at that moment you're supposed to be paying attention to. So one at a time, bit by bit, and only focus on that bit. It's mindfulness to what you're supposed to pay attention to. It's like you're playing a guitar. You're focusing on the note that comes after, but you don't focus on the note that is not in its turn. You know, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si. So it's do, re, mi, fa, sol. You don't think about do, fa, sol. No, re is coming after. That's the only one you focus on. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do. You don't say do, la, si. It's not time for it. So the music goes messed up. And you say, why can I not play? Because you are jumping ahead and you're not playing it mindfulness. You let it naturally do it. Whose turn is it? It's like you have a restaurant, a popular restaurant, and you've got numbers, tickets. People pick up their turn. You don't say, okay, it's number 2. You don't say, okay, number 192. No, number 2. So you go one at a time, mindful, pay attention to what its turn. Its turn for your workload is what you're about to do. Attend to that, full focus, full attention, the quality will go up and it finishes sooner because you're not distracted to the next job before this is end. Simple. So one at a time. And you will get things done faster. Mindful exercises. You can practice that in all your daily duties, and instead of being bamboozled by all these and overwhelmed. I hope that answers your question, Jose. And again, Thank you for your support of the channel. So let's see, where were we? Jose says, I love everyone here. Please support the channel. Thank you for that. What? Rosedrick says, I missed the live stream earlier. I was mad. But he's live now, so I'm happy. Oh, you mean in the afternoon? Did you miss it? I guess you were there, weren't you? So anyhow, and Heidi Klokenbrink. This is in Deutsch. Heidi, female, 26, Virginia, USA. Well, I guess not, but the name is German. Hello there. Thank you for being here. And all right. Remember, guys, intrusive thoughts is something that everybody in this world has it. But in the people that their caudus nucleus works properly in the striatum circle, the intrusive thought is noticed for a couple of seconds and then it automatically shuts down. And in the ones that have a malfunction in that particular automatic shift, it doesn't work as it always did. So the intrusive thought lingers and sometimes loops for God knows how long. And if you're not strong enough and clear enough about the behavior of the brain and don't understand how it functions and malfunctions, you may get really annoyed to the point that you actually can't take it anymore. It happens to the best of us. It is not your fault. It's a malfunction of the mechanical system, which happens to be electronic through neurons, which malfunctions more than mechanical systems, electrical systems. But nevertheless, that's what it is. You're not at fault. It's for all of us. It happens to everybody, right? And OCD is something that everybody deals with one way or another. So don't be so freaked out about it. This is part of being a human being, but just learn it and don't be freaked out and don't suddenly say, oh, okay, I dreamt of being a cat, so I'm a cat. I mean, you don't go there, do you? If you dream about an elephant, you don't say, I'm an elephant. But you dream about, let's say, something that is homosexual and you're heterosexual or whatever sex you have, sexuality you have. If you dream about something opposite, suddenly what? It becomes a question. Why? It's a dream. It means nothing. And same thing, if a thought comes to your mind that you are, I don't know, a tiger, okay, you say, well, I'm not a tiger. If thought comes to your mind that, I don't know, you're, I don't know, something weird, you're a snake, or you, I don't know, you simply, it doesn't bother you because you don't believe it, because you see it's not you. But when it comes to your sexuality, you separate your sexuality from you, and suddenly you believe the thought. Why? Why do you do that? It's no different. Your thought cannot change you. Simple. Stick with who you are, and separate thoughts, brain, and you will feel fine. You deal with them and not be fooled by them. I forgot what I wanted to say, but that's all right. And we have Shazan Khan. It says, I'm 32 from India. Says, doctor by profession. Oh, okay. Says, big fan of yours. Thank you. And he says, sir, me and my girlfriend were preparing for going abroad and study and settle there. But due to financial reasons, I couldn't go, and she went there. Okay. I was about to go but delayed due to COVID, but now she broke up with me all of a sudden and deleted all our pictures, blocked me from all social media. I found out she's into another relation. Yeah, of course. When they do this, obviously means, they've been, entertaining someone else. And Shazan says, she's going on vacation with him, and here I have lost all my hope of going abroad and study and to do anything in life. Please help. Yeah, I'm going to help you. There's my help. I'm going to get on a plane and come at your head with this ugly stick, which is famous. Everybody knows about ugly stick. It's for people who lose their mind for some nonsense that is very clearly, it's a blessing to you. You have been blessed with a decree, a heavenly decree that saved you from wasting your energy, your money, and your time and your emotions. Why? Because you were just about to go somewhere with someone that all obviously ended up to be unfaithful or unreliable in his relationship. The first chance she got after being with you and having these promises and arrangements, the first chance she got, she's going on vacation with some other bloke. Which means what? That is the universe interfering and helping you to realize what the shit you were getting into and stopped you. In fact, some power out there loves you and saved you from being involved further, deeper with someone who doesn't deserve your attention. Isn't that the real thing that you should be focusing on? And you're focusing on that I can't move on because the person who actually is unfaithful and unreliable, I don't have to be with, which you're supposed to be using that for celebration, which opens the road for you to find someone that is suitable for you, a woman that you can count on. She can be faithful to you, stand on her promises, protect your relationships together, and be accountable for what she promises. Not this one. Obviously, this one fucked up. I don't care what memory you have with her. Her actuality does not suit what she used to be. She has changed. When she has changed, she no longer deserves your attention. Remember what I always said. If this wheel doesn't turn for you, I don't care if it turns at all. So you shouldn't care how pretty she is or what she does with the other guy or what she doesn't or what she did. It doesn't matter how wonderful it doesn't matter at all. If that all wonder and that all cooking and all attention and all beauty and all characters is not directed towards you, then it doesn't matter if it is or not. If this wheel doesn't turn for you, I don't care if it turns at all. So you go on, find the wheel that turns for you and because of you. And you can turn in tandem together. This one messed it up. She showed what she's made out of. And you lucked out because you were this close to become more committed to her. So you're now free. You've been given a second chance by nature. Find a woman a beautiful woman, a lovely woman, a woman who wants to make a life with you. Qualify her, and she qualifies you, and then you guys bond on consciousness level, not on bullshit. Obviously, you couldn't see the bullshit, but the nature saw it and broke it off because you couldn't make that decision. Lucky you. So, stop being a wuss. You've got a job to do in this life. You're a doctor. You're supposed to help people. You're supposed to make sure you're on solid ground. You complete your training, whatever it is that you want to become and be, and attend to the role you have in this life. We're all connected. Together, collectively, we make this world function. And your job is not just to be here to become a doctor, to become her husband. Your job is to become a doctor, help cure, help people, and then find someone who is worthy enough and you can count on her and compatible enough to then choose that for your spouse or whatever relationship it is. So at this point, you're given the reason to celebrate your life. Count your stars. Otherwise, you would be going into something that eventually in the future was going to break up anyhow, because that's what she did. The first chance that came along. So that means unreliable. Why would you want to be with someone who behaves like this? Who cares what she does? She can go and, I don't know, do whatever she wants to do. You, on the other hand, are the winner in this equation because you weren't sucked into something that you weren't supposed to be part of because it wouldn't be deserving you. So go on. You're in India. So many beautiful girls and faithful girls and wonderful women out there. Find another. Not right away, whenever you're ready and whenever something really qualified shows up. So go celebrate instead of sitting on your bum and trying to, so what? What are you crying about? You just opened up the whole opportunity of the world to you by, nature getting rid of this relationship for you. That's it. All right, we have another super chat from Jose, and Jose says, do you believe in unconventional forms of therapy like hypnosis is viable option to psychotherapy? It depends on what is the ailment. What is the topic? And there are some psychotherapists that they eventually use that pathway to resolve certain things via hypnosis, but not in everything. Definitely not necessary for OCD and stuff like that. But that's not the usual. It's just usually the best golden standard for these sort of things is ERP, but hypnosis, it has its place for people who can't actually do that what is being done to them with their own brain, because most people don't know about the function of the brain, how to treat it. They have mixed up the brain with being them. But brain is an apparatus, is a tool, is not you. Remember, we talked about it. You were here way before brain became, the thinking process and ability and speaking became part of you. So your existence is independent from this speaking and thinking ability. So thinking and speaking ability was never around when the human being was put together as an animal. So the thinking ability and speaking ability cannot take away anything from this animal that existed million years before it was able to speak or think. So this whole idea of thinking that my gender is changing and all that because the thought popped up is baloney, bullshit, bogus. Because before you even had the ability to think or speak, you were living like any other animal and no changes were happening all through your life. None whatsoever. The only difference is that now you think you can think. So it's the thinking that causes the trouble and suggestion. It's a suggestion, not an actuality in your biology. Don't be fooled. Protect yourself by understanding the limitations and the role of brain and thoughts and putting them on their places rather than on the pedestal. No, they're dumb. Brain is not intelligence. Brain is thought manufacturing plant. That's all. But you're the one who decides on the quality of the thought and usefulness or meaninglessness of it. All right. Now we have another super chat from Shaizan Khan, 400 rupees, and thank you very much for supporting the channel, Shaizan. I appreciate that. And let's go to you're quite welcome, Rexit. And Heidi Klokenbrink says, hi, yes, Heidi is German and Klokenbrink is Dutch. Okay then. Delighted that you're here. Thank you for joining us. And I hope everyone who has not become a subscriber, be a subscriber. Just push the button. It doesn't cost you anything. And the one who hasn't liked the live stream, please click like. Oh, actually, there are 16 of us here, but 18 likes. That's pretty good. I like that odds. All right. And don't forget, we have elaborate resources in regards to negative thoughts, transient thoughts, OCD, HOCD, negative thoughts. On this channel, we have two big playlists. One is Intrusive, Transient, OCD, HOCD, negative thoughts, which talks about the logics and interpretations of the thoughts and so on in these sort of topics. And the other one, which is not talking about the reasons or logics or interpretation of the thought itself, but talks about the role of brain, you, and thoughts, and how brain functions and malfunctions, and the actual understanding of the behavior of the brain. And that playlist is called Intrusive, OCD, HOCD short videos. And heads up, not all of them are short videos. So there we go. And of course, we have over 1,500 videos on breakups and how to move on, and the behavior of the psyche in the events of breakups, and why you feel the way you do. What's the role of thoughts and consciousness in the breakup? What about fears, desire, pleasure, and ego? What about mechanical process, material process, order? And what are these play a role in the way you feel, act, and react after the breakup? And how to move on. All of that is here, either through playlist, or you just put a word in the search engine of the channel, a word that describes your feeling or your question, one word or two, and it gives you a bunch of videos that you can select from it and go on from there. And if you guys wanted to talk to me one-on-one, you all know that I have a site called Mind That Seeks Truth, which has my books there, which has possibility of different packages, the mindset and other packages for moving on from breakups. And also you have a chance to make an appointment with me and have a one-on-one discussion on Skype. So we'll explore what's concerning you, the two of us, one-on-one together, and get rid of whatever it is that is concerning you, or at least help understanding it. If you make a 1 hour appointment on Skype, I throw in an hour on me, so we'll have 2 hours, plenty of time to discuss what's concerning you, one-on-one on Skype. And we have Heidi says, could you talk more about the NaCl example from your Pebble video? Yes, of course. Heidi, I need to know where you're tuning in from. I guess you're in the States, but did you tell me, or maybe I forgot, your age? So I will know who I'm talking, what language I should be selecting. Let's see, where are you? I don't find you. And we have Alpha Light says, "Hi Mehran, we are enjoying your channel here in Australia." Oh, delighted! Delighted to have some of our friends from Australia, because this particular timing is for the Asia and Australian time zone. And thank you for that, Alpha Light. It's the first time I see this this thumbnail or this screen name. So please let me know your age, gender, and of course Australia. I know that one. So I'll go to Heidi. Let's find Heidi and see if I have that information from her. Oh, yeah, female, 26, from Virginia, USA. All right, Heidi. You wanted me to talk about NaCl, the chemistry formula for natrium. I mean, for salt, which is chlorine and natrium, or chloride and natrium. Well, you know, if you look at the relationship between two people, and when you break up, you feel like, oh, your partner, your boyfriend was so amazing, or your girlfriend was so amazing. And you know, usually the women break up with men. So let's focus on that. So the girl leaves the boy, and the boy thinks, oh my goodness, she was, or in your case, let's look about your case, he thinks, oh, she was so amazing, and she left me, I don't know what to do, and all that. They forget about their own role in the amazing character that they have made out of that partner, that girl. Why? Because they're only thinking about the product, the outcome of the two of them having gotten together, the relationship having been so amazing, and they give all the credit to the other side. But when you focus on the individual ingredients of this relationship, there would be two molecules, you know, two elements. And for that reason, I have used the example of natrium and chloride. Na, natrium, which is the old name for sodium, and Cl for chloride. Together, they have made salt. But how could natrium say, oh, the salt that was created was so amazing, and now salt has left me? Salt didn't leave you. Chlorine left you if you're not together. And the reason that there was a salt wasn't because chlorine can make salt all by itself. Chlorine can make salt only when there is natrium there. So in other words, what I'm trying to say is that if you're in a relationship and you think your girlfriend has left you, and the relationship was amazing because the girlfriend, well, partly is right. But honestly, if you weren't there, that relationship would not take place, because by herself, she couldn't have created this sweet relationship that you call it sweet. The same as NaCl. Individually, Cl is poison, and natrium is poison. But when they are bound together chemically, the molecules of Cl, chlorine, chloride, and molecules of natrium, sodium, they bond together, and then they create salt, which is no longer poison, but nutrient, nourishment, necessary for your survival. So both of them together can only make that nourishment. Individually, each one of them actually could be poison. So the fact that the relationship was good and she now left you and you feel devastated, you shouldn't give all the credit to her, because if you weren't there, You could be the natrium and she could be the Cl, or the other way around. If you weren't there, that other person couldn't have created that amazing relationship that you're now crying about. You were a big part of that. And that big part that created that salt, if you were the natrium and she was the chlorine, if you weren't in the equation, there would be no salt. So the reason that there was salt was mainly because of you were there, as far as you're concerned. If you weren't there, she could never make salt. Chlorine would never by itself become salt. So you take that ability and characteristics of yourself, being natrium, to go and find another molecule of chlorine. It's out there. And make the salt that you like, make that relationship that you're interested in, using your speciality and your qualified chemical ingredients with another molecules of chlorine, with another girl that could create that sweet relationship. You can create another sweet and excellent and amazing relationship because you already know you could do it because you did it here. Now, the fact that she's no longer there and broke it, it doesn't mean that you can't make the same thing happen, if not better, with another one. Because you're still there. You cannot be destroyed. You're in your own control. You exist. And her leaving the equation, it's only her leaving the equation. But you have the same capability to create salt with another molecule of chlorine. So you go and make another relationship with another qualified person because you have that capability. That capability has not gone away by just because she has left you. It cannot be taken away from you. That is your ability and capability. So I hope I explained that enough for you, Heidi, and perhaps that helps to understand what the video was trying to show you. All right. Oh my goodness. And Shaizan says, thank you, sir. And Shaizan said, but I feel I will never get a girl like that. Why? 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 Universe stopped producing that model? Or the ability or possibility of a similar consciousness, at least to a level where you could bond with, doesn't exist anymore after she was what's so special about what has she accomplished in this life? What has she done that nobody else can do? Has she brought peace to the world? Has she brought, I don't know, food to the elderly and brought safety and security to women and children? Has she brought a solution or remedy to and cured common cold? What has she done that makes her so special, other than the fact that your desire has made her so special? If you didn't desire her, she would never be as special as you think she is. The importance of things and people is equal to your need and desire for them. If a suit in the window of a shop, it's so important to you because you need to go to a formal gathering of certain kind, and you have a need for that, you desire that suit becomes important. But if you had not been invited to that event, or you didn't have a need for that suit being in that shop, okay, looks good, but it's not that important because I have no need or desire for it. So it is you who have created, through your desire and need for whatever it is, intimacy or companionship or whatever it is that you have created, certain desire, she has become important. So the source of her importance is actually you, not her. Because she is not important to everybody in the world. if she was on her own responsible for her importance, then she would have had reason and evidence for everybody to think of her the same way you do. But she doesn't. Why? Because others don't need her. So it is the need and desire that makes someone so important in the eyes of that person. So the source of her importance is the need and desire that comes from you. You are the source of her importance, not her. So go ahead, unleash this source to somebody else. So don't tell me you can't get another girl, because you didn't get another. You created this girl through your desire and through your need. You created that image that you are now thinking it's such unique. You created that image of her in your mind. You are infatuated by a certain image, or in love, or like the image you created of her, about her in your mind. She didn't. Your desire and need created a certain image because you need to desire her in order to satisfy and fulfill your desire through pleasure. You can't have pleasure if you don't have desire for it. Well, you can, if you're hungry and you eat something, you didn't desire the sandwich will happen to be delicious, you may like it. But in this case, it is your desire that leads to pleasure. And then you think because you reached pleasure through this person, then this person is source of pleasure. No, the source of pleasure is the desire. And you can unleash your desire on somebody else. So don't give her all that credit. All she did was she looked pretty or whatever. But there's so many other pretty girls. You can't deny that. There's no shortage of pretty girls in the world. None whatsoever. And definitely you want somebody who's pretty, or somebody that meets your aesthetic standards and expectations, who actually on consciousness level you can bond. This one obviously at this juncture of this supposed relationship showed you she cannot be reliable. Why would you want to be with someone who proved to you without the shadow of the doubt she's not reliable? Why would you? Are you nuts? Unleash your desire and be the source of the importance of somebody else based on their qualifications and their commitment and faithfulness to you. Simple. Simple. You didn't lose anything. You regained yourself to give what you can to somebody else, make something else so important and so amazing. Because that's how you did with this one. Not her. Look at her. Is that her behavior? The behavior that she just goes to somebody else? Is that a quality that makes her important, makes her really amazing? No, it doesn't. So you fooled yourself, and now you're free. Absolutely. Go and live your life. Do not sit on your ass and think that she's the world. She was a fragment of your world, and that fragment, naturally and luckily, is no longer holding you back. And your eyes are opened. The wool is taken away from your eyes. It's pulled away from it so you can see clear. And Shizan says, also, sir, I'm 32. I feel I'm too old. You're too old? Let me get my helper here. This is my assistant called the ugly stick. Everybody knows this ugly stick. You go put your motorcycle helmet, and this is going to be coming right hard on your head. And if I have to just throw it or buy a ticket on the plane because we can't travel right now, and I'll send this ambassador to break on top of your head and teach you a few lessons, wise lessons, very peaceful and, civilized way, but it has its own way. So be aware of what you're saying here, because it has not the tolerance that I have. Because when you tell me at 32 years old, you're old to get a girl, that disturbs me. Because, it's offensive. Because when you say at age 32, you're old to get a girl, then I should actually think I'm a fossil and I should go die because I'm 65 years old and I still, would welcome opportunities of, uh, sharing moments of experience of this journey of life with a woman of qualified nature. So, if 32 is old, then I should be dead. I remember when I was 10, 11 years old, I had four uncles, and one of them was 21, and I thought, wow, he's very old. And one of them was 18. I thought, wow, he's really grown up. A 21-year-old, and wow, that's really old. And the 32-year-old, I said, oh, he's probably going to die any day, because that to me was way old. But when I became 20, I said, well, 20, Jesus, it's just so, the 30-year-old is so young. What? Then 40-year-old was old until I became 40. I said, my goodness, 40, I'm so strong and everything is going my way. And of course, many all opportunities and so on. And I've never been stronger in my life. And I thought, oh, then 50 is old. Until I became 50. Well, I was in the gym and all buffed and so on. And then I thought, oh, maybe then 60 is old. Until I became 60 and I was still in the gym and all buffed and fit and so on. I said, well, we'll just leave it and see when it becomes actually old. So you calling 32 old, that's really insults me. So be careful, because that ugly stick has a mind of its own, and it's very protective of my feelings. So and he says, I feel I'm too old to get a girl, and only option left for me is getting married, which I am not ready for. I don't understand. You're too old to get a girl, but the only option is to get married. It doesn't make sense, does it? Shizan, what's happening with your brain? She says, I feel her life, she's doing best and having fun, and me still struggling. Look, she's having fun with another guy. That kind of fun, I don't think you're up for it. So why don't you go and find your own fun the way that's suitable to you, and find another girlfriend? They're out there. Like, Jesus, 1.3 billion people in India, and you think that's the only one that actually could be interesting to you? Come on. It's good to be discriminative, but not, this tough. Come on now. Come on. Get off your ass and go and become who you are. Be a doctor, get a good girlfriend, proper, conscientious, loyal, educated, communicative, and bond on conscious level, and see where it goes. If that didn't work, another. That didn't work, another. Until it's the right size. It fits. All right. All right. Okay. Looks like that it's time for me to call it off, because we have, are you kidding me? Another super chat from Carpe Diem. Carpe Diem, what are you doing? You're constantly helping the channel, and you're taking all the burden on your shoulder, and some help here and there from some people, but that is not well, anyhow, I don't know if that's and Carpe Diem says, please support Mehran. He's an amazing person. Please spread the news, share via social media. Thank you for being here for us. My pleasure, Carpe Diem. I'm delighted that you're helping the channel so much, but I hope that you don't have to feel you're obligated to do that. It's very kind of you. I appreciate that very much. And Jose says, the source of her importance is you. Genius. Yeah, that's why this channel's got 2 million subscribers. That's because it's genius words coming out of this channel. God damn it, what's happening with you guys? Promote the channel. Do something. People got to know about it. We got to help people. Reach more people. we're kind of lost in the sea of YouTubes. And I don't know, somehow people come in with channels and within a year they've got few 100,000 subscribers, and we've been around for God knows how long, and we just have 21,000. Don't know what's going on. We have over like 2.5 million viewers, but we only have 21,000 subscribers, and so it's kind of all right. Anyhow, so let's go on. Let's see. Shizan also again helped us with super chat at 500 rupees, and he says, "Thank you, sir. You are awesome. More power to you. I hope I will try, but I feel stuck." Don't. You only are stuck if you listen to the brain who thinks you're stuck. You don't have to listen to what the brain says. You want to change it? Get off your ass. Don't worry how stuck it is. Get off your ass, unstuck yourself. Simple. Make an action. Make an executive decision and make an action. Unstuck yourself. Listen. Unwant her. You don't have to want her. You don't have to be loyal to what it was. Unwant her. It's a relationship with a woman who is no longer as she used to be in the past. She's changed. She's behavior, loyalty is changed. Therefore, unwant her. You unwant her. You're free from her. You don't have to want her. It's your choice. Simple. And it says, "And you are inspiration for us, sir." My pleasure. Just do me a favor and promote the channel, guys. We need to get to know. I love what I do. I love to help you guys. I mean, from the past 6 months, 7 months, the number of videos that we have made in regards to OCD and transient thoughts and intrusive thoughts and all that, it's amazing. And I really don't know what goes in my head when I come up with it, because I interest heavily into finding ways to deliver certain understanding to you guys, and I guess I have my ways. I don't know, maybe I've been smoking something, but I don't, but somehow it comes up clear in ways to explain the psyche to you in the words that can be easily absorbed and understood. So I hope you guys will benefit from these videos, and I am here to help, and I love doing this. I hope that this channel will grow to the numbers that would warrant me just focusing a lot more time to it as I wish to do. But economically, it needs to be considered if it's viable or not. So I hope you guys will help for the channel to be known in any way, shape, or form you can. Legal way, of course, and then help the channel to reach more people and help more people. And in that case, also I will have opportunity to dedicate more time and then help more people as the result. So it's time for me, and Shizan says, "Okay, sir, thank you so much. We'll definitely promote, sir. I appreciate that. Keep up the good work." I sure will. Aman says, 19, male India, does repeating in mind that I am not gay, I just have intrusive thought, works for cons or subconscious to stop any such thoughts and sensations. Look, you gotta be able to live with uncertainty. One of the problems we human beings are, we're always after certainty, and that always being after certainty brings a certain behavior towards equal to perfectionism, and that perfectionism causes us to constantly focus on certainty, that everything should be this way, that way. But being able to allow intrusive thoughts to be there, but not being bogged down or necessarily pay attention to them, it's what you need to be doing. Just like anything else is out there in the world, and you live your own life, and different lifestyles or different products, different designs, different mentalities, different things are out there as well. So let them be. You don't have to try to stop all the other things out there before you can live your own life. No, we're all living in harmony. Whoever is there, the trees are there, the animals are there, other people, different lifestyles, different genders, different products, different design, different businesses, they're all there. So you simply navigate on what it is that interests you, and that's all. The rest of it, don't resist of the existence of what is not you. Let it be. You're just not you. You know about that. You don't care about it. So anything else, it shouldn't bother you. Just let it be. You don't have to, fight with it. Just okay. It's there. But I realize it's useless and it's meaningless to me. It's irrelevant to me. It's intrusive to me. So I recognize the intrusiveness nature of it, and then I don't pay attention to it. That's all. That's what you do. All right. It's time for me. It's about 2 hours and 50 minutes pretty soon. So it's time for me to say I love you all. Thank you very much for being here, giving me the opportunity to share a thing or two with you. Thank you very much for all the super chats, everybody. And it helps the channel, and I appreciate it. We can advertise a little bit and perhaps get to be, have more exposure. And don't forget to promote the channel on your social media and your live chats or whatever it is that you do, different forums, different chat lines, different chat forums, and so on. And I look forward to talk to you again next Saturday at 1 p.m. Vancouver time, and also next Saturday night, 9 p.m. Vancouver time, or close to that in each time. I may be a few minutes here and there, late or earlier. So, in the meantime, be good to yourself, to the others. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.